This session is focusing on pest management in hops. Our speaker today is Jason Downs with Certis USA. So with that, I'm going to turn the platform over to Jason. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be able to speak with you guys today. Let's see, can everyone see my screen there?
Yep, just put it in full screen, please.
Well, thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate it, Ann. My name is Jason Downs.
Jason?
Whoops, can you see it?
Change your display from presenter view to there.
Did that work there?
Display settings up in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Click.
There you go.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. So I've been with Certis USA for about a year now. I reside just outside of Boise in a little town called Kuna. And today I wanted to talk with you guys about some products that we have. Historically, Certis has been very strong on the coastline, so California, Oregon, and Washington. I am their Idaho and Mountain Region sales manager, and Idaho is actually a new territory for us. But to give you a little bit of background for those of you who aren't familiar with Certis, we are a leading manufacturer of biopesticides. The really neat thing about our products is that we are residue exempt, and I'm going to talk to you guys about 5 different products today and highlight them. And all of the products that we're going to discuss have a pre-harvest interval of 0 and a re-entry interval of 4 hours. And one of the things that we're really starting to see in a lot of industries, as you guys know, is that more and more buyers and end users are looking for options and starting to request less use of synthetic chemistries. And so our portfolio really encompasses a lot of the things and attributes that a lot of these end users are looking for, as far as looking at worker safety, protection of beneficial insects and pollinators, and also looking at a food safety and consumer standpoint. So we've produced 5 main technologies. These main technologies are bacillus-based, fungi-based, virus-based. We also have some neem extracts and some biochemicals as well. We have a total of 127 employees across the United States. Of those, 20 of them are sales reps. We also have a research and development department that encompasses that whole geography as well. And we aren't by any means a fly-by-night company. We are owned by a large trading company called Mitsui, which is located in Japan. They have about 460 subsidiaries globally. We have 3 dedicated plants. 2 of them are in the United States. One is in Wasco, California, and one is in Butte, Montana. The other one is our neem plant, which is out of India. So the nice thing about this is that we don't really see any disruptions to getting our products to market when there's closes in ports and other incidences that happen as well. We're a heavily research-based company. And we have over 30 plus biological products. This is kind of an outlook of our whole portfolio, but like I was saying, we're only going to focus on 5 main products today. 38 of our total portfolio, 30 of those are OMRI listed. And so the first one that I really wanted to talk with you guys about is called Double Nickel LC. Its active ingredient is a Bacillus aminoliquophagous strain D747. It's a broad spectrum biofungicide and bactericide. The main mode of action is created during the fermentation process, where the actual bacteria will create metabolites such as lipopeptides, which will actually penetrate whichever pathogen it's going after's cell wall, and that's the way that it kills it. The also benefit to this is that it's a low use rate as well. The use rate on most hop production is around 1 to 2 quarts per acre, depending on what particular disease you're going with. It's compatible with copper fungicides. And one thing to note is that you don't want to mix it with hydrogen peroxide or parasitic acids, as those particular products in foliar applications will take the active ingredient and take it to the leaf edge instead of getting a nice sufficient coverage. So really highlighting its 5 modes of actions. This product works both in a foliar aspect and it works in your soil applications. So during the fermentation process, like I was telling you, it creates these metabolites that kill your pathogens, such as powdery mildew. And that is its main mode of action. From a foliar standpoint, it is preventative and curative in the fact that when you spray it on the leaf, it will kill the particular pathogen you're going after, but as new spores fly on and come in contact with that leaf surface, it will kill them there as well. In the soil, it works the same, but it also works a little bit different. In the soil, it works different in the fact that the bacteria is going to continue to make metabolites as well. It also helps to improve nutrient uptake. And we also get an SAR response in that it helps boost the plant's immune system to ward off infection. The additional part to that is this competitive exclusion, which is where the bacteria actually acts as a physical barrier and colonizes on the roots in order to keep pathogens like Rhizoctonia, Fusarium from coming in contact with them. And this is a picture of those roots showing the actual colonization on the roots. So we have 2 formulations. We have a dry and we have a liquid. Both of them work the same. I think that the liquid formulation is better to look at in our markets than on the dry. The main diseases that we target with this in hop production is going to be powdery mildew. It's very strong there. We also have seen very good efficacy on downy mildew species that are similar to what's seen in hops. We are going to fill that gap in research this year, but we have been using some double nickel applications this past season in Idaho, and we did see good control of downy mildew in that. When it comes to your soil diseases, it's really strong on Rhizoctonia and Fusarium. I wouldn't really classify it as a great product to go after verticillium. You will probably get some suppression from that. So again, this is just kind of outlining that we have 0 pre-harvest intervals, 4-hour re-entry intervals, and it's compatible with a lot of insecticides, herbicides, and fungicides as well. The next product I wanted to showcase was our PFR 97. It is a microbial insecticide. Its active ingredient is a Pacilliomyces fumarosio strain Opoco 97. This is an entomopathogenic fungi. The main pest that we were going to be targeting with this product is mites. It's a really strong product on mites. And it's going to infect all life stages of the mites, so eggs, juveniles, and adults. The other real big benefit to using this product is that it does not affect your beneficials. So it's not going to affect your predatory mites, your ladybugs, or even your green lacewings as well. So this is a neat product in the way that it works is that this fungus, the spores will find its host insect, so it's mites. It's going to attach to those mites. It is going to then germinate on top of that host insect, and then it's going to penetrate the cuticle of that insect, and then it's going to replicate inside, and then that's the way that it kills the mite. And this is all just kind of under the microscope. Looks at that particular process. This is showing the penetration into the insect, and then you will get a silent mortality. One thing with biologicals is we have to kind of adjust our expectation as far as the way that they perform. So this isn't a product that's just, you're going to spray, you're going to walk out the next day and all your mites are going to be dead. They stop feeding within 24 hours, which is, I think is the main key. And then they're going to die within 3 to 5 days after coming in contact with the active ingredient. Rate on hops is 1 pound an acre, 1 to 2 pounds an acre. Water volume and coverage is key. So we want to, depending on the stages of growth, we really want to focus on, anywhere from probably 50 to 100 gallons of water application, just to make sure that we are getting good coverage of the leaf surface. The pest does have to come in contact. It's going to last on the leaf surface for up to 7 days. So as you get more flushes of mites, as long as they're walking through the product, they're going to continue to get infected. It's compatible with most of your fertilizers, insecticides, and herbicides. One thing that you don't want to do is, because it is a fungus, you don't want to mix it with any type of fungicide. And you want to wait at least 5 days before you apply any fungicides to the crop as well. So if you're having to apply a fungicide and PFR isn't going to work because of that, we have a second insecticide as well. It's called Sil Matrix. It's a fungicide. It's a potassium silicate product as its active ingredient. There's some things that you have to be careful with on this product. It's an alkaline product with a pH of 11.3. It is compatible with a good amount of liquid sulfur products and horticultural oils and some strobilurin fungicides. The main pest that we're going after with this product is going to be mites and powdery mildew. So there's two main modes of actions. So with potassium silica, when you apply it to the leaf surface in a foliar application, it's going to create a barrier on the leaf surface, and that is going to cause insects not to be able to penetrate that leaf surface. It also is applicable for fungi by having this thick layer of potassium silicate on the fungi is going to have trouble penetrating that leaf surface. And it also acts as a desiccant. So potassium silicate is basically a liquid glass. So as those insects come in contact with it, you'll achieve desiccation. In addition to that, research is starting to show, and a lot of scientists are starting to see, that even if fungi does come in contact or does get into the plant, that the presence of silicone inside the plant helps reduce the infection and the replication of that particular fungi in the plant. And so we are also seeing benefits from that mode of action as well. So some things to be cautious about is that we don't want to mix this thing with inorganic fertilizers such as zinc sulfate, magnesium sulfate, zinc nitrate, zinc chloride, calcium acetate or calcium nitrate. It is compatible with things like 1034 or 1137 or complex minerals in most fungicides. One of the big things to be aware of is you do not want to be at that pH in your tank around at 6. You want to either be above or below it, I would lean more towards an alkaline solution at best. And the suggested reapplication rate is every 10 days. So this is a trial that we did on hemp. I'm sorry that it's not on hops, but we tried to find something that was closely related to hops. This was done with Collins Ag Research this year. they did 3 applications, and we're looking at an untreated check, and then 3 of our products, Bottega, PFR, and Sil Matrix. And this is looking at the control of adult spider mites per leaf. And as you can see, there's really no statistical differences between the Bottega, PFR, and Sil Matrix, but we got really good control on mites there. And then to forward, this is looking at actually eggs on each leaf as well. And so you can see that we had a good reduction in eggs per leaf as well. So the next suite of products, or main product that I want to talk about, is Javelin. This is really where Certis got its foot in the industry. We've been around a long time, and BTs is where we first got our start. So BTs are a common soil bacterium. They were discovered in Japan back in 1901. There's a lot of different subspecies. Some have insecticidal properties and others do not, but they have been in use since the 1930s, and they've been in commercial production since the 1950s. We have 3 different products that focus on Lepidoptera, and this is really what we're focusing on with Javelin. I think Javelin is our best fit for hops going after loopers in particular. We also have some other products for Coleoptera and Diptera as well. But to give you a little bit of an insight on how this product works is that during the fermentation process, we have these vegetative BT cells floating in your fermentation broth. And as they go through the vegetative cycle, they start to sporulate, and they start to create these spores and crystals. As those develop, the cells will break open and release these crystals and spores into your fermentation broth. Javelin is different than a lot of other BT products that are on the market, in that most companies will centrifuge off just the crystals, and that's where a lot of your insecticidal properties come from. But we actually use a whole fermentation broth and put that into the product because there are some additional insecticidal benefits from the fermentation broth as well. But to more focus on the crystals, these crystals are protein coated. And so when an insect ingests them, it dissolves that protein coat. And what's inside that protein coat is called cryotoxins. These cryotoxins will then bind to the midgut of the insect, and it will create a pore space, which then causes osmotic shock and gut paralysis of the insect, and that's the way that they die. So the insects must ingest this material in order to become toxic. It's best with bios in general is that the earlier we can attack the pest, the better control we get. Going more towards adults, we're not going to see as good of a control than if we would have put the material on early at younger stages. So looking at these cryotoxins, there's over 250 cryotoxins that exist. Like I said, some have insecticidal properties, some don't. The reason that I focused on Javelin versus our other products, Deliver and Crymax, is that we see that these cryotoxins, given their concentration, have more toxicity to specific pests. And so I think Javelin is a good fit to go after loopers with it. This is looking at a cabbage trial that we did, looking at loopers, looking at Javelin, dipel, and lanate. That's the really neat thing about bios, is that we've really seen good efficacy when competing against a lot of conventional chemistries. And we have a lot of data to support that on our different products. Not only are they competitively priced, but the efficacy seems to be there. Again, we got to adjust our expectation, but I think they are definitely a good tool when used properly. Looking here, you can see that there's not a big statistical difference between the three products, but all are very similar in the amount of marketable heads they had for processing and for fresh market as well. So the neat thing about BTs is that they're more specific than a lot of your synthetic insecticides that are out there. Javelin in particular is only going to affect Lepidoptera. So this shows a big benefit to our beneficial insects that we are using in the hop yards, and that if those particular insects ingest the material, you're not going to have to worry about them infecting them and their populations going down. They're highly compatible with IPMs. And they don't leave any toxic residues. And again, the re-entry and pre-harvest intervals are really low. We had some growers using them this year when mites were bad at the end of season to kind of help control the mites before they got their crop harvested. A lot of these chemistries with the synthetic chemistries not coming out with a lot of different new chemistries, rotating them in just for resistance management, we've seen a lot of big benefits there as well. And again, just to kind of focus on, adjusting expectation is that they're not a knockdown product. The insects do need to ingest them. Again, this is kind of like PFR, that they're going to stop feeding within 24 to 48 hours, and they usually die within 3 to 5 days as well. So the last product that I wanted to talk with you guys about is called Nemex. Nemex is an insect growth regulator. This particular active ingredient is azadirachtin. Some of you might be familiar with Azadirect by Gallon. This is our competitor product to that. Azadirect is a 1.5% azadirachtin, where this is a 4.5. And the way that it works is Azadirect mimics the insect's molting hormone, and by affecting its molting, it deforms the insects, causing death. This is a really strong product for piercing and sucking pests. I know there in Washington, guys do have issues with aphid, and so this would be a great product for that. We do see good control on mites as well, but I think the PFR and the Axil, you're going to get better control on that particular pest than you will with the Nemex. Neat thing about this product as well is that it's translaminar. This is a trial that they did in the greenhouse where it was looking at cucumber plants, and what they did was they shielded the bottom of the leaves and only sprayed it on top, and they wanted to see what the mortality rate of whiteflies was on the top of this, on the surface of the leaf as far and as well as the bottom of the leaf. And on this trial here, you can see water only did not show much. Insecticidal soap had good control on the lower, but not as well on the upper. The Azadirect at 60 parts per million had very good control on both. And then using the Azadirect or the Nemex plus a 1% hort oil was the best combinations there. One of the biggest things to just kind of verify when you are using large water volumes is to make sure that your total solution when you're adding in the Nemex is that you want to be at 30 parts per million. So the label is based off of ounces, but when we get into that higher water volume, it's easy to just go with a low end of the rate and not be at that 30 parts per million. We see a really big uptick in efficacy when you have it at that 30 parts per million. So with that, thank you everyone for taking time out. It's been a pleasure. If you guys have any questions about the products, we have a whole line of products. You can go to CertisUSA.com. We have all the products listed out there, some different tech sheets and stuff like that if you want more information, or you can contact me at my cell phone or email.
Thank you, Jason. If anyone has questions, you can put those questions directly into the Q&A box, and then Jason can pick those up and answer those for you. While we're waiting to see if we do have any questions, I would like to take one last opportunity to thank all of those sponsors who participated in today's program. This is the last session for today, and we will reconvene tomorrow morning at 8:15. So our session sponsor for the platform today was Hopsteiner. We had a sponsor for our federal issues review panel, and that was Oregon Wire, a Madison Steel company. And then we had the sponsorship of the session that you just enjoyed by Certis USA. So thanks again for those sponsors. Be sure you visit the virtual trade show at American Hop. The website is AmericanHopConvention.org. And we also wanted to remind you that the Hop Research Council pre-recorded presentations and the Hop Research Council poster session are available for you to view at your convenience. Those can all be reached through the app as well. So with that, I see one question popping up in the Q&A box, and that for Jason is, do you have a product that can kill flea beetle?
I am not sure off the top of my head. If the person, I know it was an anonymous user, if they could send me their information, I would definitely find out and get back to them on that.
Okay, that would be great. And then the next question, what is the cost difference? And Kay, I'm not sure, cost difference between conventional control and one of these products, or if you could put just a bit more clarification in your question. So the question is the cost difference between the standard conventional control and the products that you have available, Jason.
Yeah, so all of our products are done through distribution. So in Idaho, the main distribution would be, Simplot, Nutrien, Helena, Wilbur Ellis. In Idaho, it would be those same ones, but including a lot of the local companies like GS Long also have that. So from a pricing standpoint, they would be able to get you guys pricing, but they're very competitive. Most of the products that I've been looking at in Idaho are positioned to be competitively priced. So they're actually really competitive to your conventional chemistries that are out there.
Okay, and so who would be your distributors in Oregon?
It would be.
Do you happen to know?
It's pretty much, it's pretty much pretty much everyone for the most part. Simplot, Nutrien, Helena, Wilbur. I think even maybe some of the small co-ops as well. I'm not sure of all of them off the top of my head.
Fantastic. Okay, any other questions from the audience or from the other presenters in the group? Perfect. Okay, with that, we will adjourn this first day of the virtual American Hop Convention for 2021. And we look forward to seeing everyone at 8:15 tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, we do focus on the brewing side of the program. We lead off with Jim Watson, the senior analyst from Rabo AgriFinance, looking at the beer and beverage market outlook for 2021. And that will be followed by our brewer panel. And that's something I think we all look forward to every year. This year we have Bart Watson, the chief economist from the Brewers Association, and Mark Yoakum from AB InBev, who will be our presenters. And then for the Q&A portion, Joe Heaton, who you met this morning with the Beer Institute, will join them, along with Jim Watson from Rabo AgriFinance. So that should be a great conversation. And then we will follow that with some additional seminars educational seminars for the remainder of the morning. Thank you again for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow.